It's a title challenger eliminator in the Prem and an unlikely top 6 matchup in La Liga.
The defending champions in Italy get tested, and 2 surging teams are looking to stay hot in Germany. All this and more in this episode 100. We've made it of the No Business Soccer Podcast. Snooze, kick us off.
Let's dig in. Welcome back. The Centennial episode. Is that what they call them? The Centurion? I don't know. That sounds like a movie. What's up, everybody? I'm your host, Snooze. We got the full fam today on our 100th episode. J-Fam, the Brainiac in the back. Danny P on the ones and twos, but everybody's here for the 100th episode to see what our dog, Hype Man Vic, is sipping on.
Well, what I got today is an old-fashioned is what I have. It's one of my favorite ones with Old Granddad 114. But these are my pre-made ones that I have. They're actually in some bottles that were in my freezer. You can see the frost is still on that baby. And so this is my normal one. It's my favorite one. And this one was with Knob Creek 12 and some black walnut bitters. And I should have found a better way to label this because it's literally just OF nut. I probably should have figured that out.
Yeah, so that sounds like OnlyFans nut. Like you just collecting it all.
It's old-fashioned nut brand. But when I'm done with this, I get to pour this one up. So while I take a sip of
wait.
Go ahead.
For the 100th episode, your boy's drinking with you. Your boy's drinking with you. I got a wild turkey. It's a Kentucky bourbon aged for 8 years. So yes, I don't know anything other than that. So there you go. I'm drinking with you on the 100th episode. Look at this. I got my little Prost glass.
My goodness, that is so cute. Look at that. It's a cup for ass. So while we cheers each other, everyone, thank you for 100 episodes, number 1. But go ahead and like and subscribe. If you are not subscribed, it's the best way to tell YouTube, hey, these guys are pretty cool, probably, as Adam nearly strokes out over there. All right.
Sorry.
You don't have to drink it all. It's all right. Just tiny sips. Tiny sips, my guy.
Anyway, we have a full slate of games coming up that we're going to be discussing that are going on this weekend in the Serie A, Bundesliga, La Liga, and the Prem. And of course, we have UEFA competitions to cover. We don't have any more Austin FC minutes for the time being because we lost in the playoffs, so we won't do that. But before we jump into the action that's coming this weekend, let's recap the UEFA competitions.
What a hell of a round, too. That was some fun games.
Very fun. Even the games that happened just hours before we're recording this podcast. And we'll start in the Conference League and discuss what happened there. Of course, we previewed it. We talked about it a bit. Mainz versus Fiorentina. And on the match before it got started, they were saying that just what we've been saying. Both these teams' league forms have been absolutely dreadful. And it was kind of like, who can suck less in this match? Well, it turns out that is Mainz, as Mainz get the 2-1 win over Fiorentina. Mainz, I mean, it was just a great game between these two. And actually, Fiorentina looked great in the first half before Mainz came storming back. But they just, Fiorentina, we'll talk about them here in a moment when we get to the Serie A section of this podcast. But just know that they are in a crisis mode and they're making moves, but still not looking good for them as Mainz do get the 2-1 win there. Other news and notes from the Conference League. Rayo Vallecano get a 3-2 win at home over Lech Poznan. And that was actually an awesome game to see. Rayo go 2-0 down, storm back for a 3-2 win. I can't wait to see some of these games. You guys know I've talked about it a few times already. I'm going to a Basel Aston Villa game in the Europa League, and I am so stoked for it because to see these crowds going insane is just a lot of fun. I mean, that's in the Europa League. We're talking about Conference League. But before we get there, Crystal Palace 3-1 over AZ Alkmaar, Strasbourg 2-1 over Hacken, and I believe that is it for the teams that we cover. Vic, anything that you want to talk about before we move on?
Just that we had a belt-to-ass match. It was the Dynamo Kyiv taking on Zrinski. I think it was 6-0 today, or if you're watching this yesterday.
Golly.
That was our Conference League
belt
belt
to
to ass
ass
match. There you go.
Yeah, 6-0. That's crazy. Dinamo Kiev, they're almost going to go through just from that result alone. And we'll take a look at the tables when we preview the next round, because this was the halfway point for the Conference League, Europa League, and the Champions League. So let's do it. Let's go to the Europa League, and we'll talk about what happened there. Basel 3-1. I only bring it up because I'm about to watch them, and that's a good result for them over FCSB, which is Steaua Bucharest, the old Steaua Bucharest. They changed their name. Freiburg 3-1 on the road versus Nice. What a win for them. Nice, good little Ligue 1 team. We also had where did it go? Nottingham Forest go 0-0 with Sturm Graz. Not a good sign for them, but we know they're Sean Dyche just getting the hang of it, trying to figure out what they're doing. This is their third manager in this season. Celta Vigo 3-0 over Dinamo Zagreb. VfB Stuttgart, our Stuttgart, 2-0 over Feyenoord. Aston Villa 2-0 over Maccabi Tel Aviv. And then we also had Roma 2-0 over Rangers. Bologna going 0-0 with Brann. And then, of course, Real Betis 2-0 over Lyon, with our boy, the GOAT, Anthony, getting a super sick chip over the keeper for their second. Great run of games there. All the teams that we covered did pretty well outside of Nottingham Forest. I think that was the only other team. Well, Bologna, they had a red card though, so it's kind of hard. I didn't get to watch that one in full. But Vic, anything to call out here?
Go ahead, Eagles. Got just not destroyed, but didn't get a goal on the board, unfortunately. Hopefully, when I find a kit from them, it's cheaper. Yeah.
Go ahead, Eagles, man. What a team name. And then we go into the main course, which is the Champions League. We started off with Napoli and Eintracht Frankfurt going 0-0, which is great for Eintracht, as they've been leaking goals like crazy in the Bundesliga, and they held off Napoli, who obviously they don't score much themselves, but they also it was a home match, and they were kind of, you could feel the fans booing a bit. I don't want to say it was all boos, but definitely not a good feeling for Conte's men, as they need to get it going in Europe. Slavia Praha, our Slavia Praha, lose 3-0 to Arsenal, which sucks. That was a home game for them, but Arsenal are really, really good right now. Atletico Madrid 3-1 over Union Saint-Gilloise. Yeah. And what else can I say? Liverpool 1-0 over Real Madrid, Vic. How'd that feel?
Felt great, dude. It looked good to have a freaking defense that didn't allow a goal. We kept Mbappe in check. We kept Vinny in check. It was pretty nice. It was pretty nice. It was a good time. Good time.
Yeah, I feel like if teams go at you toe to toe, you're going to be, I mean, this is one of the best teams in the world, right? Like that's not how you beat Liverpool. You got to beat them like those scrappy Premier League teams that don't have the same, firepower to try to take them on. But Real Madrid would never do that. So this is a great win for Liverpool. And Aston Villa did the same thing, and that's how y'all beat them. So it's just like, I don't know. We'll see who they play in the league this week, and maybe it's a team that's going to be on par with them as well, and could be a fun time. But let's talk about, everybody's not talking about that. You know what they're talking about, Vic? They're talking about Tottenham 4-0 over Copenhagen. And if you haven't seen it yet, which if you're watching this podcast means you probably watch a lot of football, Mickey van de Ven does the reincarnation of Son Heung-min against Burnley. He gets the ball in our own box, in the defending box, as they say. Runs at him. This is a center back, and he sprints past everyone just like Son Heung-min did. He puts the ball in the back of the net. Crowd goes wild. 4-0 at home when they couldn't even, I think they had a expected goal of like 0 or 0.05 against Chelsea, like not even creating anything, and they get a 4-0. What a win for my Spurs. In other matches, Olympiacos PSV 1-1. Juventus Sporting 1-1 at home for Juventus. Not a good sign there. And then the other game that we said was the main match to watch for that Tuesday, or for this past Tuesday, Bayern 2-1 over PSG, thanks to Luis Diaz, who had a hat trick of events, but 2 goals and a red card, Vic. And I've said it for a while. Luis Diaz, he was my favorite Liverpool player that I couldn't really say is my favorite because he played for Liverpool, but now he's with Bayern. He's with my boy Harry Kane. Dude was balling out, but yeah, it was not a good day for him.
Yeah, he's doing it all on defense and offense. And that was just a bad tackle. He went scissored him, like just gave him a high ankle sprain, all kinds of, I don't know what the hell he was thinking, honestly.
Yeah, the way that Hakimi went on the floor, though, I mean, I think he had to have broken something. Like that dude was balling. Like he either tore his ACL or like something longer than like an ankle twist. Because I don't know, just the way he reacted felt like I'm done for the season or something. You know, like it gave me that feeling. Hope not, but it felt that way. In other news, Villarreal lose 1-0 to Paphos, the Cypriot champions, the champions of the Cyprus League. Paphos beat Villarreal. It was a home game for them, but either way, Villarreal should be winning that. Karabag, Chelsea, 2-2. Crazy result there. Man City versus Dortmund, 4-1. It was not the return game because Dortmund went to City, but it was the first time that Haaland had played Dortmund since he moved over, and they get the 4-1 win there. Newcastle, 2-0 over Athletic Club. We also had Galatasaray, 3-0 over Ajax. And the game, I mean, I would say the Bayern win was probably like the best of head-to-head. Big teams going at it, giants. But the game of the whole match day was definitely Club Brugge and Barcelona. 3-3. It was back and forth. It was insane. The fact that Barcelona continued to let Forbes run at them, it was just crazy. And the dude was so good. They said that he played for Wolves or something like that last season. I do not remember him, but Club Brugge have a hell of a player on the team. Did you get to watch any of that match, Vic?
No, I was at work, but I did get the update.
Oh yeah, me too.
Boy Abraham, he was telling me about it, and it seemed like just two heavyweights like throwing haymakers. I mean, they kept going back and forth, and even I think Club Brugge had a fourth goal that was called back right in extra time.
Yeah.
So yeah, it seemed like a freaking amazing game. I want to go back and watch it. I just haven't had time.
Lamine Yamal doing his thing. I mean, yeah, it was awesome. It was one of the most fun matches I've seen in a while. I don't want to say in a while for this match day. How about that? Leverkusen 1-0 over Benfica. Inter 2-1 over Kairat. And our boys, the AT Aliens, get a 1-0 win over Marseille. That is Atalanta, of course. And that is the Champions League or the UEFA competition wrap up. Vic, anything in the Champions League before we move on to the look ahead?
No, it's a fun time. If you're not tuning in, you're missing out. Fun time.
Absolutely. The Golasso show, man. Such a fun time.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it then. Let's jump to Italy.
Let's do it to Serie A. What's up, brother?
Some news and notes from around Serie A. Firstly, Fiorentina, as I mentioned it a little earlier, or I alluded to it a little earlier, they officially sacked Stefano Piolo. And after their worst start to a season in their, I think it's Pioli, I don't know why, but anyway, I have it wrong in my notes. After their worst start to the season in their history, going 10 rounds of Serie A football without a win. So yeah, Pioli is no longer in charge of our Fiorentina. It's gonna be a slog to get through this, but I think they have the talent to at least not get relegated, and then we'll figure it out next season. It's fine. Inter's backup goalkeeper, Josep Martinez, ran into an electric wheelchair that veered into his lane, killing the man in the wheelchair. No wrongdoings or anything of note, but just a big issue, and his alcohol is like staying in my throat. Anyway, the investigation's ongoing, but it just seems like some shit luck for our boy, Josep Martinez over there as the backup keeper for Inter. And I mean, I don't know what was going on. It was in Como, and maybe he was driving to a game or training. I have no idea, but either way, sucks to have that happen. And in other news, Milan and Inter, we told you about them signing the deal to purchase the rights to the San Siro. Well, this week they took major steps in that process. They signed the deeds for the land that the stadium sits on. So it is officially on, Vic. San Siro is owned by Milan and Inter, and all of the land that is around it, I guess we could say. So pretty cool stuff there, and we'll see how that affects everything in the next couple of years as they start that. Okay, I think it's time to jump in, Vic.
Let's do it. Let's jump into Serie A Matchday 11, and we're going to start off with your top matches and headlines from the No Business Soccer podcast, and it starts with number 1, Juve versus Torino.
It's the Turin Derby, or the Derby della Mole. That's a good accent right there. Coming into the match, Torino are the more settled side and haven't lost any of their last 5 Serie A matches. But Juve have different vibes around them with Spalletti coming in. And even though they can only salvage a draw with Sporting at home in the Champions League, Torino haven't beat Juve in this derby since April of 2015, Vic. That's 22 straight matches, with 16 of those being losses. History tells us that it'll be hard for them to get a win here, but let's not forget that Torino have already beat Roma and Napoli this season. I think it could be closer than you might think, and I think that Juve cannot take them lightly.
22 straight, and Juve hasn't been like complete dominating either lately. That's crazy.
Yeah, they've had some rough years in there.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter because they've been playing Torino, but not this season. I'm going for Torino. I'm hoping they can get it done. No offense to any Juve fans out there. I know there's a lot, but just Torino. They've been solid. They've been scrappy this season.
This is when they turn it around, and we will see. And we will go ahead and move on to our second matchup, which is Bologna versus our defending champions, Napoli.
Napoli get their second tough test in a row as they go on the road to take on Bologna. It's 1 versus 5 in the top of the table battle. And with 1 point separating first to fourth, there is no room for error for Napoli. And it's a great place to be if you're Bologna because they can have a go at it in front of their home fans. And if they lose, it's okay. It's the champs. It's fine. But if they can get something, it's a big, big deal. And that is a dangerous team to face Napoli, to come in on house money, if you will. Recent results in this matchup have been a bit all over the place with 3 draws and a win apiece for them in the last 5 matches. But Bologna are definitely coming in the more informed team, and a win for them really turns up the chaos at the top of the Serie A standings.
Yes, sir. And those are your top matches and headlines for Serie A Matchday 11. That's going to be a fun one, too. See if Napoli can keep their hold on number 1. Yeah, because it's tight up there. It's freaking exciting right now.
It was exciting last season. It was the only one that was exciting last season, too. So
continuing form.
It's looking like it's going to be again.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and jump into the rest of Serie A Matchday 11. And we start on Friday as Pisa look for some much-needed points against the visiting Cremonese.
It's 2 promoted teams going at it, but Cremonese so far has been the much better side in Serie A. That being said, Pisa have only lost once in their last 5 and have drawn 4 straight. If they could get a result here, it would shoot them up the table and be really good for their survival chances. We'll put it that way.
And that is our lone match for Friday. We move on to Saturday, and it begins with 2 teams looking for stability as Cagliari visit Como.
Como have alternated between wins and draws, and this one in that sequence would be a win for them after they drew with Napoli last time out. Cagliari has lost back-to-back games coming in, so it does seem likely that Como get 3 points here.
And then we got bottom of the table implications as Lecce welcome Verona.
Lecce shocked Fiorentina at home, and now they get Verona coming to town. If the Milkmen can get another win here against a fellow relegation candidate, it would go a long way towards their survival as well. And I'm feeling it. I think the Milkmen are staying up, Nick.
And then the next matchup we had is Juve versus Torino, but we already talked about them. So we will go ahead and move on to Parma, trying to avoid losing 3 straight, but it's a tough task with the visiting Milan.
Parma haven't won any of their last 5, and Milan are unbeaten in their last 5. Football isn't always that straightforward, but I have a feeling that it will be here. Even with Milan on the road, should be 3 points for them.
And then we move on to Sunday, as Sunday starts with a mid-table neighbor matchup as Sassuolo go on the road to take on Atalanta.
Our AT aliens are reeling after their loss to Udinese at the weekend. It leaves them just below mid-table and without a win in their last 5 Serie A matches. And look who's coming to town, none other than their table neighbors, as we put it. I don't want to put that on you because it's a weird thing, and but it's funny. We like it here. But their table neighbors Sassuolo, as they've been in better form recently than Atalanta. Atalanta better watch out here. They might be looking at another loss or at least a draw.
And then our next matchup is Bologna versus Napoli, but we talked about them in our match day to watch. We will move on as next is a relegation scrap as our Fiorentina head to Verona.
Unfortunate as it is to say for our Fiorentina, this is a 6-pointer at the bottom of the table. Genoa have found new life after Vieira left, was sacked, or whatever you want to call it. Anyway, they got their first win on Monday while Fiorentina are still in crisis mode. As we mentioned, they just sacked their manager Stefano Pioli, and just this past Tuesday he was sacked. And this match should be chaos. It should be craziness. We don't know what's going to happen, but we'll tune in because our Fiorentina absolutely need a win here.
And then we continue as Roma look to keep pace with the top 3 as they welcome Udinese.
Roma lost to Milan last weekend, but are still in 4th and just a point from Napoli at the top of the table. And to get back on track, they'll need to deal with Udinese coming in fresh off their win over Atalanta. Udinese have only lost once in the last 5 Serie A matches, so it's not going to be a walk in the park for Roma.
And our match day 11 ends with number 2, Inter taking on the tough-to-beat Lazio.
Inter get Lazio at San Siro, and our Lazio have been doing a hell of a lot better recently than they started the season. And they haven't lost in the last 5 matches, and they just beat Cagliari last weekend. Even with newfound success, I think getting a result on the road is a bit of a stretch for our Lazio at this point in the season. Maybe if this was a little bit later, they could. I don't see it happening, though. If it does, they're fully back in the mix, though, and that would be very, very fun for us, Vic, but I don't see it happening.
And those are your matches for Serie League. This is for City match day 11. I'm kind of interested in that Lazio match because they haven't lost in the past, I believe, like 6, maybe 5 or 6. I'll take a look here. Or if we have the table, we can bring up the table. But Lazio hasn't lost in, I think, about 6. So while they haven't been winning, honestly, they have not been losing. So they could limp away with a draw. And I'm sure
that's like best case scenario. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that, honestly.
Yeah,
dude,
and all it's going to do is toughen up the top, by the way. If Milan can only get 1 point, it's going to make things interesting.
Like this drink is toughing me up. It's a good 8 year.
Oh, that is hilarious. My poor boy. Don't subject yourself. We don't have to go over the table. We went over last time. Of course, the top 4 are separated by 1. And then if you just look at the bottom of the table, they're also separated just by only 2. But you'll see our Fiorentina holding up the rest of the table 4 measly points. 2 of those come in the last 6 matches. Yeah, we went over it already. And
quarter of the season in, though, things are starting to take shape. But we still got some time here.
Yeah.
Well then let's do it.
I think we owe our No Biz fam some quarter of our first quarter awards at some point. So we'll probably work on that during the international break.
I was thinking about that too. I was like, damn, that was the one thing I promised and I did not deliver. Thanks for calling it out.
Okay, I didn't either. So.
Okay, good. I was about to say, dang, you're making me look real bad if you have yours. Okay. Well, let's do it.
We're team, baby.
Let's go to Germany.
Let's do it to Bundesliga.
And we only have one piece of news to talk about before we get into the match day 10, I believe it is, for the Bundesliga. And that is under manager Vincent Kompany, Bayern has achieved a historic start to the 25-26 season by setting a new record for Europe's top 5 leagues with 16 consecutive victories. They became the first club in the history of Europe's top 5 leagues to win 16 consecutive matches in all competitions to start a season, scoring 56 goals and conceding only 11 in that process. This streak surpassed the previous record of 13 set by AC Milan in the 1992-1993 season, and that is insane. It tells you, I would definitely be on the side like, oh yeah, they play in the Bundesliga. It's not like they're doing it in the Prem or whatever. Not to say that there's an elitist attitude at all, but we understand that there's a little bit different competition for Bayern in the Bundesliga than like Bayern in the Champions League. But they just beat PSG, who won the Champions League, so you can't really say that about them now. I don't know who beats them. Now, PSG were severely undermanned with a bunch of injuries, but still, I mean, Bayern just firing on all cylinders right now, and they're going to be so tough to beat. Maybe they'll have a team that can beat them this week, Vic. Let's find out.
Let's find out. Let's go ahead and jump into Bundesliga Matchday 10. And, of course, we'll start with your No Business Soccer podcast top matches and headlines for Bundesliga Matchday 10. And it starts with number 1, Hoffenheim welcoming Leipzig.
Leipzig have been on a tear through the Bundesliga and are unbeaten since matchday 1 against Bayern. And after passing the Stuttgart test last weekend, they go on the road to take on a surging Hoffenheim. Hoffenheim have won 3 straight in the Bundesliga and are sitting 6th in the table. And after Stuttgart lost last weekend to Leipzig, Hoffenheim are the only other club other than Bayern and Leipzig that have won at the last 3 straight, at least the last 3 straight. We know Bayern hasn't lost yet, but this a 3-win streak, we can call it. Now, Leipzig will be the toughest test that Hoffenheim have seen in a while, with 3 wins coming against St. Pauli, Heidenheim, and Wolfsburg, which all clubs, they're kind of circling the drain at the moment. But if they can force a draw here, it would be a massive result for Hoffenheim. And Leipzig, the way they've looked, it just seems unlikely. But maybe, just maybe, Hoffenheim can get it done, Vic.
Yeah, both have won 3 straight. Like you said, it's going to be an exciting matchup. Someone's dub has got to go. I would say but it's not. That's not relevant. But
Not necessarily.
someone's dub got to go. Someone's streak has got to go. And
Leipzig are like Bayern light right now. They're just destroying the Bundesliga. So if Hoffenheim can do anything to them, it'll be good for the league, but it'll also be good for just like the parity and what, like, all the points are going towards the top, because it's usually Leipzig, Dortmund, Bayern. Hoffenheim, they were a team that was in the relegation scrap last season. Now they're sitting here trying to get into Europe. Cool stuff, Vic.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch. And another match to watch is our second matchup. It would be Mönchengladbach versus our cute little mascot, Köln.
It's a Rhine derby when Köln head 35 miles from home to take on Gladbach. Historically, Gladbach have absolutely dominated this derby, and that goes all the way back to the 50s. But in the 8 derbies since 2020, Köln has won 4 of them with 2 draws and just 2 wins for Gladbach. This season, Köln are having a great start to their new life in the Bundesliga, up in 7th. And Gladbach, there's a period there, just got their first win of the season last weekend, meaning they are now 1 point out of the relegation spots. Drastic difference in form between these two, but all we know is that form is usually thrown out the drain, thrown out the window, whatever you want to use for that, when it's derby time. And yeah, this is a derby for the ages, we'll say it. Hype it up like that. But I think Köln can get this.
Yeah, I'm torn on this one because it's Köln, the best mascot by far, versus Mönchengladbach, one of the best names ever. I don't know who I'm going for on this one.
Yeah, dude, I watched the video, and to kind of put a little bit more emphasis on the cuteness of the goat, they have a live goat at every match. Yes. And it, like, I'll see if I can pull up a picture. But I'll share it later. I mean, no, they won't be able to see it on here anyway, but yeah, it's pretty cool. And his name's Hennis, I think. Hennis, like Hennessy, but just Hennis. It's like a history of the derby. The guy Hennis something or another, super German name. He was a legend for Köln. They won all these leagues. He left. He went to Gladbach, which is obviously like, oh man, that's a rivalry there. And then he won the league like 5 times with Gladbach. And so the goat, the mascot for Köln is named after him, Hennis. But also the street that Mönchengladbach Stadium is on is called Hennis Street. So it's like he's a big deal. Nice. That's why it's such a fascinating derby, no matter who or what the team is doing at the moment. But anyway, yeah, cute. They have an actual, his name's Hennis. They have an actual goat at all the games. Cute.
Great insight on a derby. Man, it'd be cool if that was like a reoccurring thing that we had going on here. That's
what an idea. Yeah. Hey,
job,
put that on the ideas for me. Yeah.
Yeah. Great job, Suze. Well, let's go ahead and get into the rest of match day 10. And it starts with Friday with a battle of the Green Shields as Wolfsburg go on the road to take on Werder Bremen.
Composure. Bremen are on a good little run of form with only 1 loss in the last 5 Bundesliga matches. Wolfsburg are still losing matches at an alarming rate, and going on the road here might not end well for them. I mean, Werder Bremen, though, this one should be 3 points, Vic.
And then we move on to Saturday. It opens up with a match we just talked about, Leipzig and Hoffenheim. So we will continue on with Heidenheim trying to break the streak of losing every other game, but it's a tough task as they head to Leverkusen.
Leverkusen get a big get-right spot with the bottom team in the Bundesliga coming to town. Leverkusen maybe 10 points off Bayern for the title, which is great. 10 points already, Vic. But they aren't far off from the top 4, and that race will be much, much closer.
And our next matchup is the newcomers Hamburg going against number 3 Dortmund.
Hamburg come in off 3 straight losses, and Dortmund have 2 wins on the bounce. Dortmund may not be able to get it done against the elites in Europe, but lower table Bundesliga clubs, yeah, they got that on lock.
Oh, you just pissed off all the Hamburg fans that listen to us. But our next matchup is the next challenger to Bayern Munich's stellar season as they head to Union Berlin.
Mid-table Union Berlin get the unstoppable force that is Bayern Munich. Feel free to believe that Union can make this close if you want. I will not believe that.
And our next matchup was the match that we talked about in the top matches to watch. It's Mönchengladbach versus Köln. Also ends our Saturday. So we move on to Sunday, and it starts with a lower half of the table matchup. That is Freiburg welcoming St. Pauli, desperate for some points.
After drawing with Union last time out, Freiburg are in massive need for a win, as they failed to win any of their last 5 in the Bundesliga. So they're excited to see a team like St. Pauli coming in, who have lost 6 straight Bundesliga matches. Not good timing, not good form, not good anything for St. Pauli. They are they actually started the season like, I think it was 3 wins or something like that in a row, and just, man, they've crapped the bed since then.
Unfortunate. They'll get it back. They'll get it back, those. But our Sunday continues with Stuttgart trying to get back in the win column as they welcome Augsburg.
Stuttgart are still just about in the top 4 after that loss to Leipzig and a home date with Augsburg is much needed to rebound. Augsburg have only 1 win in the last 5 and are right in the thick of the relegation scrap early this season. So our Stuttgart should be able to get it done.
And match day 10 ends with Mainz trying to escape the relegation zone as they visit Eintracht Frankfurt.
Last season, this would have been one of the top matches to watch, but Eintracht are barely above mid-table, and Mainz are in the bottom 2. So I guess we can call it a disappointment offer. I don't know. Think of a better word for that, Vic. But anyway, Eintracht do get a boost after forcing a draw on the road to Napoli, but let's see who gets it done. Mainz beat Fiorentina. We talked about that too. So they might not be doing great in the league, but in Europe, that just might be what they need to get it going here in the Bundesliga.
Yeah, that one's going to be an interesting one. All eyes on that match, I think, and it's going to have some good implications for what's going on. But those are your match day. That's your match day matches from match day 10. You can say match day a couple more times in Bundesliga. And yeah, going to be a fun weekend. Going to be a fun weekend. All these leagues are going to be fun. It's going to be.
There's some good games, sneaky good games here in the Bundesliga as well. And it's always, we got the Goal Arena. I think it's just Goal Arena probably, but either way, it's like the Golazo of the Bundesliga. It's because most other leagues don't have all the games going at once. Well, I guess the Bundesliga and Serie A, Bundesliga and the Prem. Yeah. The Prem has like 5 games going or 4 games on Saturday. Same thing with the Bundesliga, but Serie A and La Liga are the ones that stagger them, so where it's like not that many games in a row. But if you're going to put all the games at once, I guess is what I'm trying to say, then do a show like that, because the Prem does have something, but it only, because they're on different networks, you could only watch 2 games of the 4 or something, like on Peacock. And it's like, just put all of them on there. And even though I can go watch the 1 game by itself on whatever USA, if I can watch all of them just on a wraparound, like that's cool with me, especially for what we do on this podcast. I mean, maybe I'm just complaining into the air, Vic, but still, I just like it. I like it.
And I'm sure you put it together for any American that happened to make it 35 minutes into this podcast, but it's basically like Red Zone, like what Red Zone does.
Yes, exactly. And Red Zone is the only way I can watch the NFL now. Too many commercials.
God, yes.
Okay, Vic, think we're ready to move on? Let's do it. Let's go to Spain.
Let's do it to La Liga.
I feel like you can tell. You can tell every time I take a sip.
Just relax your throat and just let it,
hey,
don't let it burn. And...
You don't ever tell me that, boy. All right.
I shouldn't say
Let's
that,
go over some news. Excuse me? You're used to... All right. Let's pause.
Nothing. Keep going.
Let's go. Let's talk to some news and notes around La Liga. There's one piece of news here. Camp Nou's much anticipated and delayed grand reopening is scheduled for November 22nd or the 29th. We'll see. They don't know which one of those, but it is definitely one of those dates, which would be nearly 2.5 years after it was shut for $1.5 billion worth of renovations. But once the full 105,000 capacity is set, it will be the largest stadium in Europe, Vic. And that's coming very soon.
Can't wait. It's going to be good. A good unveiling like Everton had.
Exactly. A good unveiling. It's weird to say that, though, because I know obviously we can't compare stadiums in the States and there, but 105 is that's an average stadium for college football, and it's just that will be the biggest one in Europe. That's just insane because they have the history. We have the stadiums.
What does UT hold? Do we know? Producers in the back? Do we know what UT Stadium holds?
It is 100,119.
See, right up there with that.
So it's less. It's less.
Yeah. So
okay,
yeah, crazy. But yeah,
there's a lot of zeros. Like Danny P puts that in there, like I don't know what is that. I can't even. You're not gonna put a comma or anything. You're just gonna throw a long zeros.
He said 10000.
Yeah, right. All right.
Yeah, he's smart now. That's
right.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and move on. Let's talk about La Liga Matchday 12, and we're going to start with your No Business Soccer podcast, top matches and headlines. And number one is a top six scrap as we have Espanyol welcoming Villarreal.
It would have been much more fun if Espanyol hadn't slipped up against Alaves last weekend and we're coming in off 3 straight wins, but it is what it is. Villarreal were starting to feel like themselves again, but then they lost to the Cypriot champions Paphos in the Champions League on Wednesday. What are we doing, Villarreal? I can't believe that actually happened. But if anything, it just makes this match a little bit more interesting as Espanyol will look to continue their improbable run towards Europe.
And I know we said we would start with that, but that is the only one we're actually talking about because there's a lot of parity in this week's La Liga matchups. But yeah, those are your top matches that we were wanting to bring up for you for La Liga Match Day 12. And let's go ahead and just jump into the rest of the match day. And it opens Friday as Match Day 12 opens as Elche try to get back on the surprise of the year track as they take on Real Sociedad.
We've got an interesting one here where Elche have been the better team throughout the season, but recently they've fallen off a bit, with Real Sociedad being complete opposite in that they were terrible all season, but they were coming in off back-to-back wins. If La Real are really and truly back after that win in the Basque Derby, they should be getting 3 points here, but Elche, our little Elche that could, are not going to go down easy.
That is your only match for Friday. We move to Saturday, and it opens with Girona continue to fight for their life as they welcome Alaves.
Girona are looking to lift themselves from the bottom of the table, and it'll be a tall order with Alaves coming to town. Alaves took out the inform, that's tough to say, Espanyol last weekend, and they will feel confident they can get another 3 points here.
And Saturday continues with 2 teams looking for a turnaround. It's Sevilla welcoming Osasuna.
Both clubs are not in a good run of form at the moment, with Sevilla being the worst of the two with 3 straight losses. I don't know if either side has the upper hand here, but Sevilla are at home, so there's that.
And our next matchup has the newcomers Levante going on the road to take on the surging Atleti.
And I clicked off my notes, and no, I was trying to move it down, and I did it. So Sevilla, which one? We were Atleti and Levante?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Thank you for keeping me on track here, sir. It's the new Atletico that we all expected at the beginning of the season. It just took them a while to get here, Vic. But here we are. Levante could be in for a long day if Atleti are on it and firing on Saturday.
And then our Saturday ends with the match that we talked about as your top match to watch. It was Espanyol versus Villarreal. So we move on to Sunday, and Sunday opens with the newly promoted relegation-threatened Oviedo taking on the limping Athletic Club.
The injuries are starting to pile up for Athletic Club with Iñaki Williams, Nico Williams, Ohan Sanset, all out through injury, and Gorka Guruzeta was pulled out the day of their Champions League matchup with Newcastle due to flu-like symptoms. Not good times in Bilbao, but Oviedo haven't been good at all this season either. Can Oviedo take advantage of the depleted Athletic Club side? That is the question.
And our next matchup is number 1 Real Madrid taking on the mid-table Rayo Vallecano.
Rayo came crashing down to earth a bit with a 4-0 loss to Villarreal last weekend, and things don't get much better with Real Madrid making it the short trip for this Madrid derby. Rayo Vallecano they don't have the best results recently in La Liga, but they are killing it in the Conference League, and maybe that's what they need to get the spark going, the things that they have it every once in a while. I guess they're like hit and miss in La Liga, but either way, killing it in Europe, Vic.
And continuing on, we have 2 teams headed in way different directions as Getafe head to Mallorca.
Getafe have 2 straight wins on the books and another winnable game on tap with a trip to Mallorca. Mallorca have gotten themselves out of the drop zone for the time being, but they have not been good this season. It's a good chance for Getafe to really get hot and keep the good vibes rolling. And man, if they can get a win here, I mean, I think they're 7. We'll check the table in a second, but yeah, what a fantastic start to the season for Getafe.
Yeah, and then our Sunday continues with the GOAT and Real Betis heading to the relegation-zoned Valencia.
It sucks for Valencia, who absolutely need a win after losing to Villarreal and Real Madrid in the last 2 match days. But now they have Betis coming to the Mestalla, and it does not look good. Valencia have been so disappointing lately, losing 4 of their last 5 and sitting in the bottom 3. I think it is going to be a field day for Betis at the Mestalla.
And we end our match day 12 with Celta Vigo welcoming the tall task that is Barcelona.
I wanted to make this one a top match to watch, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it because Barca have lost 2 of their last 5, yes, but Celta have only won 2 matches all season, and it is their last 2. But I just think that Celta will be playing for the draw. Barca know that they can't drop too many more points if they expect to stay in the title race with Real Madrid. It's a tough place to be if you are Celta, and maybe I'm wrong for that, but I just don't see Celta really standing too much of a chance against Barcelona.
We will see. We will see. It's going to be fun. If we want to go ahead and look at the table and bring it up, Barcelona still have a little bit of room to actually get up to Real Madrid. They're 5 points behind them in the number 2 spot. So, yeah, even if they win, still number 2, which is crazy to say of a Barcelona team.
I mean, they're just that far and above everyone else, just can't catch Real Madrid. I mean, that's really what it is.
But other than that, the other European competition spots are starting to get a little bit closer. It's getting fun right there in the middle. Not as fun at the bottom. Girona is still on the bottom. They have negative 14 goal differential. Jesus.
I think they're finally going down, Vic. I think it's fun. I mean, I called
it
in week, whatever, week 3 or whatever, but still, it's just crazy to see that it's like they're still that bad. I mean, their team just has so many names on it that are good, or that, I mean, I guess they're not good, but I thought they were, and they're just not playing as a team. So
yeah. What's going on with the Girona? You, Girona fan. I know you're watching for sure. Tell us in the comments what's going on with Girona. What do you think is going on?
Let's see. And they still have a pretty good fan base out there. I like the little stadium out there. It was pretty cool. So I don't know what's happening, but okay. Let's do it then. Let's move on to our last and final league. That is in England.
Let's do it to the Prem. A lot of news in the Prem. Let's see.
Yeah, we actually have quite a few headlines. Maybe it's just because the other leagues aren't covered, at least on this side of the pond, as much, and I have to search more. But there's some news and notes for the Prem this weekend, or this week. We spoke about Vitor Pereira's sacking at Wolves, but since then, it's rumored that their head candidate to take the managerial role was the man that replaced him, which he was replaced, was Gary O'Neill. But apparently Gary O'Neill was like, wait, you sacked me to hire the guy, and then you fired him, and you're trying to bring me back. I'm not going to do that. He took himself out of contention for the role. And there's a few other candidates on Wolves' list, but it's definitely a blow losing their top candidate. And we still don't have the news. Maybe it's broke since we last checked, but still no news on who the manager is going to be for this Wolves side. In other news, Destiny Udogie from my Tottenham Hotspur was allegedly threatened with a firearm by a football agent in September. Per the police investigation, police were called on Saturday, September 6th to reports that a man in his 20s had been threatened with a firearm. Officers spoke to the victim, and during the course of their investigation, it was also reported another man in his 20s had allegedly been blackmailed and threatened by the same individual. The police statement said no injuries were reported in either incident. A 31-year-old man was arrested on Monday, this past Monday, Monday, September 8th. I read that wrong. On suspicion of possession of firearms with intent of blackmail and driving without a license, which I don't know why that's the most, important part of there. We could have just left that one out. All the other stuff was way worse. But he has been bailed with inquiries to continue. It's all from the police. But the reason why this is news, even though it happened in September, is that it was alleged that there was a Premier League player that was held at he was threatened with the firearm, but that just came out who it was and all the news surrounding, all the details surrounding what happened. And it also explains a little bit, if you're our Spurs fan, why Udogie had been out for a bit. And I know we didn't hear too much about an injury, so it was kind of strange. He's one of our best one of our best backs. But still, crazy stuff that had happened that way, Vic. Okay, last set of news in the Prem. Thursday's Europa League clash between Aston Villa and Israeli side Maccabi Tel Aviv, taking place at Villa Park, will not allow away supporters to attend the game, as it's a hazard to the safety of the away fans and a security concern for the public. The match between Ajax and Maccabi Tel Aviv last November, that was kind of the point of emphasis on why there wouldn't be, or why there was not at this point, fans from Maccabi Tel Aviv to go to this match, because in Ajax, at this match against Ajax last November, there were hate crimes, there were fights, fire set to Palestinian flags, windows broken, all kinds of havoc and mayhem. And I was reading the headlines before we got on, and there were some fights and protests and things like that happened at the Aston Villa or at Villa Park, but nothing of the nature that happened in the Ajax Maccabi Tel Aviv match in last November. Okay.
Crazy.
That's it for the news. Crazy stuff. But, there's stuff that's a little bit more real than football in the world going on, Vic. But we don't focus on that. We focus on football. How about that?
Yep.
Let's
go ahead and turn the real world off and go to football as we turn to the top matches and headlines from your boys at the No Business Soccer podcast for Premier League Matchday 11. And it starts with number 1, of course, the Reds, as Man City welcome Liverpool.
It's the two clubs that are closest to Arsenal in the title race, and neither side can really afford to drop too many more points if they're going to make a serious challenge for the title. Liverpool had been in turmoil recently, but now they've won back-to-back games against Villa and Real Madrid. If they can keep the good times rolling, is what I was trying to say. It would be exactly what Vic and all his redheads need. Can I call y'all that? Redheads? Is that
no?
All right. I thought that was cool. City, funny enough though, did lose to Villa recently, but they just beat the Red Hot Cherries and took care of Dortmund in the Champions League. The fact that both sides have some momentum coming in makes this match extra juicy. Vic, how you feeling about this one?
I don't know, kind of iffy. I mean, we've been kind of informed the past 2 matches, Champions League and Premier League, but I don't know. Nothing screams that we're back in control of our own destiny. So we'll see, though. It's going to be a tough task. And I'm hoping, because little, not breaking the fourth wall, but a little insight to our friend group. These guys, everybody here on the No Business Soccer podcast, only try to do stuff during Liverpool games. And sure enough, JFam was like, hey, you guys want to go eat barbecue this weekend? I'm like, yes, just not Sunday at 10, please. Can we just do it any other time? Because that's the only time they were playing stuff. So, as a matter of fact, we helped them move. He's like, yeah, can y'all come between like 9
during the match?
Game was at 10. Yeah, the game was at 10.
But to be fair to him, Liverpool sucked at that point, so it wasn't like a big deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we didn't know we.
It wasn't like a big deal.
So yeah.
Yeah. And Danny P said you still watched it, so
either way,
you still.
I wasn't comfortable watching it. Let's go.
Oh,
we'll go ahead.
You weren't comfortable. Oh my god.
And we go to our next matchup from Premier League Match Day 11, and it is absolutely unbiased take as Tottenham welcome Manchester United.
Yes, the rematch of the European final from last season. Spurs were struggling for goals at home, and after their terrible showing against Chelsea, the moans and groans around N17 were growing louder, but 4-0 against Copenhagen in the Champions League at home will quiet the complaints for a bit, but their top scorer in the league cannot continue to be their their center back turned Heung-Min Son, however you want to say, Mickey van de Ven. It's been good results for Spurs against United lately, with the last match being the Europa League final, in which Spurs won 1-0. But prior to their 2-2 draw with Forest, United had won 3 straight in the Prem and looked to have turned the corner. Now, after that result, there are some questions arising around this match against Spurs, because Spurs have done well in the last 6 to 8 matches. I think they've won. They haven't lost, at least in the last 6 to 8 matches in the Prem against United. But this match will go a long way to tell us who's the real deal or not, because these teams have been fraudulent at points this season. I think the good thing for both clubs is that neither side has been world beaters coming in. Spurs will want to keep that winning feeling going in front of their home crowd. I don't know who takes it, but I obviously am going for Spurs. Vic, do you have a side here?
No. Only if one of y'all was above us in the table, I'd have a side. But yeah.
Oh wow. So. What do you buy? Like by a point or two ahead of Spurs right now?
If anything, I would be going for the Spurs because you're my boy. But that's about it.
Okay.
Oh, actually,
I appreciate that.
Not only that, because I could never go for Man United, unless they go against Arsenal. But yeah.
So let's go. Just to tell you guys before the show, breaking the fourth wall, as we like to say. I was getting some shit for your boy Hype Man Vic because he was like, really? Spurs versus Manchester United and not a top 4 matchup between Sunderland and Arsenal? Like, oh my God, come on.
The best story of the year is Sunderland taking on Arsenal, who are starting to run away with the league. But no, you think number 6 versus number 8 because it's Tottenham gets the match day or the top headline of matches for match day.
Feel like,
give me a break.
Rayo Vallecano came to my mind. They're doing great. I put them in the top, and then they get their ass whooped. I feel like Sunderland are going to have the same fate. But we'll get to Sunderland's and Arsenal's match here in a second. But yeah, they've been great. And, maybe I'll be proved wrong. Because it could be an awesome match. I don't know. We'll find out, Vic. But let's get into the rest of it.
Yeah, let's go ahead and dig into Premier League Match Day 11. And it starts Saturday with the match we just covered, completely unbiased as a top match for this week. It's Tottenham versus Man United. So we'll go ahead and move on. Our next matchup is a lower table matchup as Fulham head to Everton.
We've got table neighbors going head-to-head, and both teams come in with just a single win in their last 5. In fairness to Fulham, though, they won last match day against Wolves, while Everton's win will be 4 matches ago once this one kicks off. I don't know who gets it, but it seems like Fulham are in better form recently.
Next, we have some relegation implications as West Ham welcome Burnley.
And it's also another table neighbors clash. And West Ham take on Burnley at London Stadium. West Ham come in after shocking Newcastle last weekend to take 3 points. Burnley have been up and down this season, but they stayed in and around the drop zone this entire time. This could be an important 6-pointer when deciding who goes down at the end of the season.
And then Saturday continues as the surprise of the year. Sunderland use their Latino powers as they take on the number 1 Arsenal.
Damn. I forgot about that too. Golly. I feel like I missed the boat here. Okay. Sunderland were able to get a point off Everton after beating Chelsea at Stamford Bridge the week before, but is asking them to take something from the league leaders a stretch too far, Vic. I think Vic thinks not. Arsenal look like they won't be losing anytime soon, and they certainly aren't letting other teams score on them. The real question is, can Sunderland frustrate the Gunners enough to force a draw? And I guess that's why I feel like this won't be a fun match to watch, because it'll be like a 1-0 with a late goal from Arsenal or something like that. Just whatever. Okay. I'm wrong.
Well, we will see come Saturday, but our Saturday will end as the bottom of the table. Wolverhampton head to Chelsea.
Chelsea have a layup here with the bottom of the table Wolves going to Stamford Bridge. Wolves are in shambles on and off the pitch. Pretty straightforward here. Chelsea should probably get 3 points.
And then Sunday opens with a mid-table matchup. It's Crystal Palace welcoming Brighton.
Would you look at that? It's another table neighbors clash. This one should be pretty exciting as both Palace and Brighton have had pretty decent seasons thus far. Brighton feels like the team with more momentum coming in, but you just can't count Palace out. Ooh, that was tough to say. Palace been a great team this season. This one's going to be fun, Vic.
And our next match has 2 teams coming off losses that ended their pretty good streaks. It's Bournemouth heading to Aston Villa.
The Villains and the Cherries both got reality checks last weekend after doing so well prior to those losses. But overall this season, Bournemouth are still killing it, with Villa just starting to click before the loss to Liverpool. It feels like Bournemouth have been strong enough this season that they should bounce back, but Villa are a tough out for anyone.
And then Sunday continues your trend snooze, as Brentford welcomes Newcastle.
What's my trend? Holy crap. Oh, I'm reading my, yeah. It's another table neighbors matchup. And this one is surprising after how well Newcastle finished in the table last season. Both clubs lost last weekend. Newcastle's was definitely the more shocking of the two, but they were able to rebound with a 2-0 win over Athletic Club in the Champions League. There's definitely more pressure on Newcastle coming in here, and Brentford not been bad this season. We'll see if they can get it done against Newcastle.
And next up, we have a bottom of the table matchup as the newly promoted Leeds take on Nottingham Forest.
Sorry, that's not where I wanted to start that sentence. Another juicy 6-pointer with the new Sean Dyche-led Forest, who I think they did win with him one game, so I don't want to be misquoted here. But anyway, they didn't lose in the draw. I mean, with United, there's just a lot of goodness coming from this Forest team, but I don't want to say they're great yet. what happened, Vic, they came back against United, or they were able to force a draw with him, which is something that we just didn't see with Ange Postecoglou at the helm. It's weird words to say, but if Forest are going to get out of this mess they're in, is exactly the type of match they need to win here. They absolutely need 3 points against a newly promoted side. It's at the City Ground. Leeds haven't been great. Forest absolutely have to win here.
And our match day 11 ends with Manchester City welcoming Liverpool, but we talked about them in our top matches to watch, which means those are your match day. It's your match day 11 for the Premier League, and it's going to be another fun one. A bunch of table neighbors. I know you're happy to say all
table
those table
neighbors
going on. And if Arsenal has not run away with it, we are definitely hoping for some Latino power with Sunderland going at them. Sunderland is number 4. If we want to bring up the table, I can show you exactly why I was mad that Snooze did not bring up Arsenal and Sunderland. As you can see, it's number 1 versus number 4, and Sunderland, a newly promoted team. How is that not one of the top headlines you see this weekend? I'm not going to keep beating a dead horse, but Tottenham and Manchester United still has a lot of implications. There's only one point.
It's PETA friendly on this show, okay? You feed a fed horse, okay?
Oh yeah, you're right. I don't want to feed
2 birds with 1 scone. Or
how many of these do you have?
I got a lot. I'm trying to think of some more. I can't think.
I've never heard one of them. That's crazy.
They're good. They're good. PETA friendly. Feed a fed horse.
Feed a fed horse. But your Tottenham Hotspur and Manchester United still has some implications, as 1 point separates number 3 Liverpool and number 8 Manchester United. So it's going to be fun. And then 3 points separates number 2 and number 9. So it's going to be definitely fun. Everyone's chasing Arsenal, of course, with 25 points, 6 points clear of anybody else, which is a crazy thing to say, especially when just a little while ago we were saying Liverpool are 5 points clear of anybody else. And that sucks. But someone else who is clear of everything is Wolverhampton, all the way at the bottom. If you scroll down far enough, you can see they only have 2 points, and 2 of them coming in the last 5 matches. They are all but a lock for relegation so far. Nottingham Forest, West Ham United still fighting at the bottom, 6 and 7 points respectively. But yeah,
look, before we get out of here, Vic, here's a couple more for you. So we already said feed 2 birds with 1 scone, feed a fed horse. Mm-hmm. We also have instead of take the bull by the horns, that's rude. You take the flower by the thorns.
That's a literal sport. Bull by the horns is a literal sport.
Yeah, but you take the flower by the thorns, okay? It's rude to do that. Bring home the bacon. No, that's food. That is a pig. Bring home the bagels. Bring home the bagels. And then, more than one way to skin a cat. We know that one. That one is so foul. It's more than one way to peel a potato. So there you go. There's some more PETA-friendly, family-friendly quotes for you to use in your vocabulary now, Vic. 2 things. 1, if you ever tell me you're bringing bacon to my house and you bring bagels, ass whooping immediately. And number 2, I don't remember the last time you like pissed me off this much just talking about all this stuff. It's crazy. But. Yeah, that's pretty good because I piss you off a lot too. So
exactly.
That's a good record. All right, DJ, play our music. Vic, take us home.
All right, everyone. Thank you for spending some time with us and talking about some European football. Be sure to follow us on everything. Everything is at No Business Soccer Podcast, except for TikTok, except for Twitter. That is at No Biz Sock Pod, because those names were way too damn long. Guys, it's going to be a fun and interesting weekend in all of our leagues. Have fun for watching this football, and we will all talk to you very soon. Peace.
Thanks for 100. Woo!
100.